I can't help but emotional. My entire life and my humanity is being destroyed by this. Is that a fair answer as to why I'm emotional? We want to call attention to the world to what we think is a tragic error in analysis of medical data. And that is the fact that all societies from the beginning of COVID have advised against the use of corticosteroids in COVID-19. We think that is a fatal and tragic flaw. Corticosteroids are actually life-saving in these severe viral syndromes. They show drastic reductions in mortality in anyone who had anything beyond mild disease. You shouldn't use it early as an outpatient, but once you hit the hospital, it's life-saving.
In early outpatient treatment, we have 3 randomized controlled trials and multiple observation as well as case series showing that if you take ivermectin, the need for hospitalization and death will decrease. The most profound evidence we have is in the hospitalized patients. We have 4 randomized controlled trials there, multiple observation trials, all showing the same thing. You will not die, or you will die at much, much, much lower rates. Statistically significant, large magnitude results if you take ivermectin. It is proving to be a wonder drug. It has already won the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 2015 for its impacts on global health in the eradication of parasitic diseases. It is proving to be an immensely powerful antiviral and anti-inflammatory agent. It is critical for its use in this disease. We, again, stand by our manuscript. It is a scientific manuscript. It's been submitted for peer review. But please recognize peer review takes time. It takes months. We do not have months. We have 100,000 patients in the hospital right now dying. I'm a lung specialist. I'm an ICU specialist. I've cared for more dying COVID patients than anyone can imagine. They're dying because they can't breathe.
I just want to take a second just to talk about how massive of a problem that is. The fact that our public health agencies are basically limiting the choices and the treatments that they champion, and they're literally excluding this one. They have failed their goal of protecting the global health of citizens, and I think it's a colossal and will be a historic injustice to the world.
Like you're being kind.
I cannot believe that this is occurring. It's literally people are dying because they don't know about this medicine. Providers are being told not to use the medicine.
They're feeling that their licenses are jeopardized if they do what's in the interest of their patients.
And I've never studied a medicine which has more evidence than this. I've been working on this analogy, which is that it's almost like you're in a plane emergency, right? And a plane is crashing, like we're in an emergency right now, and everyone's saying, listen to the captain. You have to listen to the captain's instructions. Don't listen to anyone else, but listen to the captain. And no one's considering what if the hijackers already got the captain. And you're not listening to really good advice, and that's what it seems like here. And we're listening to hijackers.
We are fighting against Big Pharma. They have controlled and captured our health agencies. Every single policy that they have issued out of those agencies, the entire pandemic, was written by the pharmaceutical industry. And that is a war on repurposed drugs. We've known now for 2 years that there are cheap, safe, highly effective, and widely available medicines that can treat this disease. That information has been suppressed. We are in a war of information. That's why we need you. We have to get this critical information out to save people. People are dying. They are killing us with censorship and propaganda. They are manipulating the minds of millions. Most of the healthcare system, many of my fellow physicians are completely brainwashed into believing that there is no treatment.
You know what's going on in this country right now? Is that the CDC has been captured by the pharmaceutical industry. They sent out a memo in August of 2021. They sent out a similar memo back in the spring of 2020, telling the nation's physicians and pharmacists not to use generic medicines. We are now in a state in this country where Senator Johnson asked the question, how can we get the average U.S. citizen to treat or get treated? We have pharmacists across the land who are refusing refusing to fill these because they've been manipulated and brainwashed into thinking that the FDA hasn't approved the use, as if that matters. Off-label prescriptions and prescribing has been going on for decades. It's encouraged when there are no effective treatments. Yet I have to, when I try to treat my patients, and Dr. Marble can attest to this, we have pharmacists who refuse to fill some of the safest and low-cost medicines known in the history of medicine.
And I'm watching people die. I've been in ICUs for 15 months with lungs whited out, people dying on ventilators, families crying, families getting destroyed, and they're all needless deaths. I know this. Early treatment works. I'm watching needless death all over the place. And this is a sad message. But I got to tell you, now I'm an expert at the corruption. I see it everywhere. I see what they're doing. They're practicing disinformation. They know how to do it. They've learned it from the tobacco industry last century, who perfected the tactics of disinformation. And I think everyone here recognizes it, but nobody else does. There's so few Americans who recognize what is happening. They have taken control of information, and they are infecting our brains with lies. And I see good doctors who literally are pushing vaccines on people, who are willing to vaccinate toddlers against a cold virus. This is insane. The world has gone mad, and it's not their fault. It's from unrelenting propaganda and censorship of good information.
If I have to read one more article of a young person dying where the word vaccine isn't even mentioned as a possibility, it's absolutely disgusting. And call out all the producers, everyone who runs these media things, every journalist who goes to work and writes that article and refuses to talk about what's in everyone's mind. You know, you are complicit. You are complicit. And you want to keep your job because you can't write the article that you know you're supposed to and morally and ethically supposed to write, which is the truth, the facts. You give all of the information that's available. You can talk about possibilities. You can write an article where it doesn't say it is the vaccine, but you could maybe, if you had ethics or morals or honesty or integrity or courage or conviction, you might want to write that, hey, maybe it's the vaccine. 16-year-olds, it's extremely rare to die. How many have we seen dying? 16, 18, 20, 22. And by the way, a 32-year-old athlete or a marathoner going out for a jog shouldn't be dropping dead either. A 42-year-old is distinctly rare. Yet now it's so common, we're used to it.
Do you think, Pierre, that damage in science damage in the trust in science as a result of the behavior of bad actors using science as a kind of weapon has suffered? Do you think people don't trust science in a way that's sort of more broad now?
100%, but I actually think that is a positive. I think there's a huge portion of society now who realize the capacity for these authorities and these institutions of science to lie to us. And I think that skepticism and that lack of trust is good because it's going to protect people. They're going to ask more questions. They're not just going to blindly accept. Did you see this thing where we had CEOs of pharmaceutical companies getting national prime time and interviews on news that I've never seen that before? And I'm an old lefty, by the way, not anymore, but I mean, we used to hate big pharma, and now we're giving them megaphones. And so here's what I see in a lot of places I travel and lecture. I go to a lot of kind of medical freedom conferences. So many people come up to me. They are terrified of going to their doctor. They don't want to go back to their primary care provider who's literally going to tell them to get the latest booster, which has no scientific or safety evidence for that. And so they don't trust physicians. And I would say I feel bad for them because I think they're very scared. They feel like they can't get to those physicians who are awake and aware and is going to do fully informed consent and support them by educating them, having that mutual collaborative debate or exchange about things instead of these monolithic, passing on these recommendations from these corrupt agencies. And so, but I don't think that's bad. I think that's a start of something new. The more people are awake and aware of that the system is rotten and has been captured, the more I think we have an ability to start building, a new one or a parallel one.
What I want you to understand, for all the patients who you are seeing that can't express themselves, don't give up on us. We are still the same person inside our body that we were before the vaccine. Help us get back to who we once were. I thank God every day that I wake up in the morning and I am still here. And every night I ask God to place a hedge of protection around Dr. Pierre, Kory, his family and colleagues, the doctors of FLCCC, and help them fight. To me, Dr. Kory and you all are the Davids fighting Goliath. And remember, David won.